OK, well, let's take a look at what's making headlines here in the French papers. Deputy Laurent is with me in studio. Deputy, there is one story that isn't new. We've seen it before, but it's coming back and taking up quite a number of pages. It's questions over how to deal with French jihadists coming back.
That's right, coming back
Indeed,
arrested. Those who are arrested in Iraq and Syria. It comes after recently a German female jihadist was sentenced to death in Iraq. Now, it is a thorny issue. Should these French jihadists be tried where they are in Iraq or Syria, or should they be extradited to face trial in France? Now, 3 French women are currently awaiting trial in Iraq. The magazine L'Express reports that the French women's lawyers say they don't even know why the women are being held. They also have condemned what they call a lack of response from the part of the French government. Now, the editors at the right-leaning paper Le Figaro definitely aren't sitting on the fence in this issue. In their editorial today, they say, I quote, "Nothing will make us pity the fate of these jihadists. We are nothing but enemies to them. France owes nothing to these traitors."
Then, of course, there's the question that comes up as well of what to do with the children of jihadists who would be French nationals.
That's right. They are French nationals. And in the case of one of those French women being held in Iraq, her children were actually repatriated back to France. They've been called ticking time bombs. And the anti-terror prosecutor, François Molins, said yesterday that he's actually really worried about their future because many of these kids have only ever known the terror regime. They come back to France and they have to adapt to a life that's more democratic. One child, for instance, told authorities that his father regularly showed him videos of people's throats being slit. The child's uncle has actually refused to take him in for fear that he might spread his thoughts to his other children. So this child is essentially in foster care now with a family that has no other children. The last news from him, according to Le Parisien, is that he actually threatened to slit the throat of his teacher.
I mean, he must be traumatized.
He's traumatized, and that's right.
And of course, all of this comes at a time when French prison guards here are striking over working conditions, and the idea of special terrorist prisons has been floated.
Well, that's a pretty controversial idea. That's what La Croix says. Unions are asking for this. They want these separate structures to be built, small prisons accommodating no more than maybe 40 prisoners, according to the type of radicalization. They'll be housed according to that level. Critics say by putting them in isolation, though, this will only increase their level of radicalization and risk the creation of, quote, terror sanctuaries within the prisons. So clearly it's something that still needs to be meted out.
I am sure that's a debate that will go on for some time. Meanwhile, on to some quite different news now. And there's a man making the front page of Le Parisien newspaper. He's the CEO of a French supermarket.
That's right, not just any supermarket either. Carrefour, probably one that everyone or many people around the world do know. His name is Alexandre Bompard, and he actually just came into this position 6 months ago. But he adopted a company that's fallen on hard times due to the rise of, for instance, Amazon and other e-commerce players. Le Parisien reports that the company was second largest in the world back in 2001. Today, it stands in 9th place. Hence why Bompard is looking to shake things up, and usually shaking things up means laying off staff, as is the case. He's planned for over 2,000 job cuts in the head office and 21 job cuts due to the planned closure of 273 supermarkets. He does say he wants to revolutionize the supermarket industry through making organic food mainstream, for instance, and ensuring that they only sell free-range eggs. Basically, he says, ensuring there's a distinction between, quote, farmer fresh and Coca-Cola.
Okay, very briefly, and sticking on the theme of food, there have been some reports about couscous.
That's right. This story is from our web team at France 24's web team. They report that Tunisia, Algeria and Morocco are banding together for a common project aiming to get UNESCO World Heritage status for couscous. It comes, of course, after pizzas in Naples were given similar status, and French President Emmanuel Macron is championing for the baguette to follow suit. So why not the couscous, which is, after all, one of the most popular dishes in France?
And of course, there's 3 different types of couscous across those 3 countries. Right. So it'll be interesting to see will they pick a special type of couscous. Deputy Laurent for the press review, the French press review. Thanks a lot for that.